Israel. And that's why I've directed my national security team to consult closely with the new Israeli government in the coming weeks and months about how we can further strengthen our long-term security cooperation with Israel and make clear our unshakable commitment to Israel's defense.
No doubt Israel a big concern to the United States. Joining me now is Congressman Jim McDermott of Washington and MSNBC contributor Steve Clemons, editor-at-large for The Atlantic. Gentlemen, great to have you with us. Congressman, you first. What message does this send today to the advocates of more sanctions? Were they wrong? Or have we gone far enough to say that sanctions have done what they were supposed to do and we don't have to go any further?
My belief is the president has handled this brilliantly. He held back the people who wanted to throw a monkey wrench into the negotiations, and he has accomplished what he set out to do, bring a comprehensive agreement to the American people. That doesn't mean for 1 second that those who want to throw a monkey wrench into his plans won't try to or won't do it in the future, but they do it at their own risk. Because the question you have to ask them is, what is your alternative? You're just going to keep squeezing and hope you'll get, I don't know, do you think Iran will go away or that their nuclear plan will go away? The president has put a plan on the table that controls it for 15 years. It's a fabulous piece of work. Now, I know there's details. The devil is always in the details, and you want to see the written agreement. But what he's got on the table is a skeleton agreement that really makes an awful lot of sense.
Steve, Israel's Strategic Affairs Minister released a statement following the deal's announcement today, saying that the smiles of Switzerland are detached from wretched reality in which Iran refuses to make any concessions on their nuclear issue and continues to threaten Israel and all other countries in the Middle East. Pessimism galore, it seems like. Will the president be able to sell this deal to the prime minister? Is there any way Israel will move at all on this?
I think so. I think President Obama will do exactly what Bibi Netanyahu did when he was appealing to American citizens. Barack Obama will paint a very clear and lucid picture of the options ahead and how reducing Iran's nuclear fuel by 97%, getting into previously unreachable parts of Iran's nuclear program, getting Iran to agree to a substantial two-thirds reduction in its centrifuges, and locking it in place into first-generation centrifuges, which, frankly, are pretty crappy. So when you take all of that to the Israeli citizenry, I think you'll see the terrain in Israel change, because you just can't have a kind of, New Orleans levee strategy for Israeli security, hoping a big storm won't come. You've got to actually do things that fundamentally change the dynamic in the Middle East. And President Obama has done a masterful job. I agree with Congressman McDermott in moving that needle. It's an extraordinarily difficult needle, but he's moving it, and it's breathtaking to watch.
The president also had a message for the Iranian people today in a statement. Here it is.
To the Iranian people, I want to reaffirm what I've said since the beginning of my presidency. We are willing to engage you on the basis of mutual interests and mutual respect. This deal offers the prospect of relief from sanctions that were imposed because of Iran's violation of international law. Since Iran's supreme leader has issued a fatwa against the development of nuclear weapons, this framework gives Iran the opportunity to verify that his program is in fact peaceful. It demonstrates that if Iran complies with its international obligations, then it can fully rejoin the community of nations, thereby fulfilling the extraordinary talent and aspirations of the Iranian people. That would be good for Iran, and it would be good for the world.
Congressman, it sounds like the table has been set for this deal, if it goes through, to put pressure on the Iranian people to make sure that the country follows through with this, because they've struggled with these economic sanctions. They want to prosper in their society, in their country. And I just got a feeling today, listening to the president, that that was a big olive branch to the Iranian people, but also a challenge to them to make sure that it goes through. How did you read it?
Well, I thought it was a very conciliatory statement by the president, a very nice statement. And he's really acknowledging that you remember the last president of Iran, Rafsanjani or whatever his name was, who went around yelling all kinds of scary things. The man that's now the president and the foreign minister are very reasonable people. They've both studied in the United States. They know us as human beings. And when I talked to their staff a long time ago, they said, if we can get a situation where we have a win-win, where we, the Iranians, win, and where the rest of the world wins, we'll have an agreement. And I think you heard the foreign minister today say that that's where he thought they were. They had a win-win situation, and I think the Iranian people will back them in the political process. I think you have got something going here that's really very exciting.
What's your take on that, Steve?
Well, I think it's really interesting. I was just on a White House call with senior administration officials, and one of the interesting comments was that Iran is not a democracy like ours, but they have politics. And their politics plays just like our politics plays, and you've got to deal with that dimensionality over there. And Barack Obama is giving a tilt to the reformists, to the people that have aspirations for Iran, of saying to them, your lives can be better. Everything can be better. Hold your leaders accountable. Make them move forward on this. And so I thought it was a very nice move, like Congressman McDermott said, very important to talk directly to Iran's people.
Well, Steve, nothing's ever peaches and cream. Where's the rotten apple in this deal, if there is one?
Well,
I mean,
I think
where's the fly in the ointment here?
Well, I think that right now there's still opportunity in the next couple of months to botch this all up. There can be different interpretations on each side of how what is considered to be appropriate behavior by Iran in getting this sanctions relief. There could be a huge difference of opinion on what reducing Iran's nuclear fuel means, where it goes, how it's managed, and so there's plenty of opportunity left for the naysayers to do this. But when I hadn't seen the text of this agreement. We've been talking about the outlines for some time, but I think it is several notches better than I expected it would be.
Yeah,
they're talking like that. What do you think, Jim?
Well, the real bump in the road here is that the other side has tried for 6 years to prevent the president from having any success, whether it's with the Affordable Care Act or anything else. And here comes an international agreement, which in my opinion is bigger and has more impact for Americans than does the Affordable Care Act. This is a huge agreement if it goes through, and I don't know how the Republicans are going to switch and say we support them. I mean, that's going to be their tough thing, is to figure out how can they either find some way to tear it down or come to the president and say, you know, you've done a good job, thank you. That's where the real rub is going to be.
Yeah, and they'd probably send somebody out there who's got nothing to lose, like John McCain or Lindsey Graham. So those guys are probably on the way. Congressman Jim McDermott, Steve Clemons, good to have you with us tonight. Appreciate the conversation.